11 Reasons Why You Don't Like Being Around People. Stoicism. Have you ever found yourself retreating into solitude, preferring quiet moments alone rather than socializing with others? Does the thought of being surrounded by people leave you feeling drained or uneasy? If so, you're definitely not alone. Many of us feel this way at times, but have you ever paused to wonder why? There are various reasons why some people avoid social interactions, and some of these might surprise you. Whether it's rooted in personality traits, past experiences, or even psychological factors, understanding why you feel this way can be the first step toward personal growth and connection. In this video, we're going to dive into 11 reasons why you don't like being around people through the lens of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that offers practical wisdom for managing our emotions and relationships. By exploring these reasons, you might gain a deeper understanding of yourself and how to navigate social situations with greater ease. Stay tuned, because you might just find the insights you've been looking for. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. Let's get started. Number 1. Introversion. Introversion is often misunderstood and seen as a flaw that needs to be fixed or overcome, but in truth, it is simply a personality trait that shapes how individuals engage with the world. Introverts are naturally more reserved and find comfort and energy in solitude, rather than in the bustling social environments that extroverts thrive in. Unlike extroverts who feel energized by social interactions, introverts often feel drained by large gatherings or prolonged socializing. This does not mean that introverts are shy or socially awkward. Rather, it means they are selective about where and with whom they spend their energy. Introverts tend to value deep, meaningful conversations and prefer one-on-one interactions over group settings. Their social energy functions like a battery. When it's depleted, they need time alone to recharge. This need for solitude is not a weakness or limitation. It's simply how introverts engage with the world. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This idea mirrors the introvert's preference for simplicity and tranquility, finding peace in quiet reflection rather than in the chaos of crowded spaces. Introverts often excel when they have the space to think deeply, work on personal projects, or simply engage in solitary activities like reading. These moments of solitude aren't lonely or isolating. They provide a sense of fulfillment and personal growth. It's important to understand that the need for peace and quiet isn't something that should be fixed or changed. It is an essential part of who introverts are. However, in today's world, society often places more value on extroverted traits like being social, outgoing, and visible. There's pressure to attend large social events, network, and always be on. This can lead introverts to feel like their natural inclinations are somehow wrong or inferior. They may start to believe they need to force themselves into social situations that drain them in an attempt to meet societal expectations. This can lead to frustration, anxiety, and a sense of disconnection from their authentic selves. Stoicism, however, teaches us to focus on what we can control. For introverts, this means accepting their need for solitude and finding ways to connect with others in ways that feel authentic and aligned with their true nature. It's all about balance, honoring their need for solitude while still engaging with others in meaningful ways when they feel ready. Incorporating modern Stoicism into their lives can help introverts feel empowered and at peace with who they are. Instead of forcing themselves to be more extroverted or trying to become something they're not, they can embrace their introverted nature and establish boundaries that protect their energy. Stoicism teaches that we can't control the opinions of others or societal expectations, but we can control our reactions to them. Introverts don't need to feel pressured to be the center of attention or constantly surrounded by people. Instead, they can prioritize their need for quiet time and recharge their emotional batteries. Recognizing and respecting their social limits is not only an act of self-care, but also an essential part of maintaining their well-being. As Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "Be yourself, but be your best self." This timeless wisdom reminds us that true fulfillment comes from accepting ourselves as we are without comparing ourselves to others or striving to meet external expectations. For introverts, this means accepting their love for solitude, their introspective nature, and their ability to form deep, meaningful relationships while respecting their personal boundaries. In a world that often values extroversion, learning to honor one's own quiet nature is a powerful and empowering act. Peace and fulfillment come from within, and nurturing one's inner world is an important part of self-respect and emotional strength. Introverts don't need to change who they are to fit in with society's norms. By applying Stoic principles to their lives, they can navigate a world that often celebrates extroversion while staying true to themselves. They can create space for quiet reflection and meaningful connections, crafting a life that aligns with their authentic nature. Modern Stoicism offers the tools for introverts to embrace their unique qualities, set healthy boundaries, and live with balance and peace. By following this path, introverts can live authentically and find fulfillment on their own terms, empowered by the strength of self-awareness, resilience, and inner peace. Number 2. Sensory processing sensitivity. In a world brimming with constant noise, flashing lights, and the unrelenting pace of everyday life, have you ever found yourself retreating from the chaos, feeling utterly drained after being around people for too long? It's not that you don't want to connect with others. It's just that everything around you feels overwhelming. The buzz of conversations, the bright lights, the hum of background noise, these things can feel like a sensory overload, draining your energy and leaving you feeling mentally and physically exhausted. If this sounds familiar, then you're not alone. This experience is called sensory processing sensitivity, SPS, a trait that makes some people more sensitive to sensory stimuli in their environment. It's as though your senses are cranked up to the maximum, and every loud noise, bright light, or strong smell feels amplified. This heightened sensitivity isn't a flaw or a weakness. Rather, it's simply how some individuals experience the world. For example, think of walking into a crowded cafe where the noise of multiple conversations, the smell of coffee and food, and the bright lighting all hit you at once. For someone with SPS, the sensation can be overwhelming. The brain tries to process all these inputs simultaneously, making it difficult to focus on one thing at a time. The conversation you're having, the music playing in the background, or even the flickering light above you. Everything competes for your attention, and it can feel like your mind is constantly trying to catch up. This sensory overload can leave you feeling mentally drained, and social interactions, which might normally be enjoyable, can become exhausting. The need to process all the information around you takes a toll, making even simple conversations feel difficult. This doesn't mean you don't like being around people. It's just that the environment can feel too much to handle. You might find yourself retreating, wanting to take a break or avoid social situations altogether. This experience is especially common in people with conditions like autism or ADHD, though it affects everyone differently. The important thing to remember is that sensory processing sensitivity isn't something that can be fixed or eliminated. It's simply how some people are wired. But it doesn't mean you can't manage it and still engage meaningfully with the world. People with SPS often benefit from creating strategies that help manage their environments. This might mean seeking quieter spaces, using noise-canceling headphones or earplugs, or taking breaks between social interactions to help recharge. These strategies don't eliminate the sensory challenges, but they make it easier to navigate the world without becoming overwhelmed. The key is learning to understand and embrace your sensitivity, rather than seeing it as something that needs to be fixed. By recognizing your sensory triggers and adjusting your surroundings, you can still enjoy socializing and build meaningful connections with others. It's a lesson rooted in the Stoic secrets of self-awareness and control, recognizing what you can change and what you cannot. The power lies in how you respond to these challenges, not in avoiding them. Ask yourself, what would life look like if you embraced your sensitivities rather than resisting them? Could you create a space where you feel comfortable engaging with the world without being drowned by sensory overload? Could you find peace by acknowledging your unique experience and honoring your need for balance? These questions are essential for anyone trying to find a sense of inner calm amidst a chaotic world. The next time you find yourself overwhelmed by the sensory bombardment of a crowded room or a bustling street, take a moment to pause. It's okay to step back, find a quiet corner, and reconnect with yourself before jumping back into the fray. You don't need to feel guilty for seeking peace. Your energy is valuable. And just because you need time to recharge doesn't mean you don't value the connections you make when you're ready for them. Your sensitivity is part of who you are, and it's a gift that can help you live a more intentional and peaceful life. So the next time the world feels too much, remember the Stoic lesson. Focus on what you can control, honor your needs, and engage with others in a way that feels right for you. Your peace matters, and by honoring it, you can navigate the world on your own terms. Number 3, intelligence. People with above-average intelligence often experience a sense of disconnection in social situations, particularly when the conversations feel shallow or uninspiring. Their minds are continuously engaged in complex thinking and problem-solving, making casual small talk feel unsatisfying. While most people engage in social interactions for bonding or passing the time, those with heightened intellectual curiosity seek deeper exchanges that challenge their thinking and inspire new ideas. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions but in having few wants." For highly intelligent individuals, this could be interpreted as preferring less but more meaningful dialogue, avoiding superficial discussions, in favor of more substantive ones. Such individuals thrive in environments that allow for intellectual discussions on topics like philosophy, science, or culture. These conversations not only satisfy their curiosity, but also fuel their mental growth. Unfortunately, in many social settings, these topics are often dismissed or overlooked, which can leave them feeling isolated. Intellectual curiosity varies greatly among people, and this mismatch can make socializing feel draining. For instance, someone passionate about quantum physics might find it difficult to discuss the latest TV show, even if others enjoy it. In such situations, social interactions may become less about meaningful connection and more about tolerating the conversation. This need for stimulating dialogue often leads highly intelligent individuals toward solitude. They are not antisocial, but they may feel that most conversations are too limited or unfulfilling. The frustration of not being able to engage at a deeper level can lead to feelings of isolation, especially when their intellectual contributions are undervalued or misunderstood. As Seneca wisely observed, "It is not the man who has too little but the man who craves more that is poor." Those with above-average intelligence often feel emotionally impoverished when they long for intellectual connection, but struggle to find like-minded people. To combat this sense of isolation, it's important for intelligent individuals to seek out communities where deep thinking and intellectual conversations are valued. These could be niche groups, online forums, or professional networks that emphasize critical thinking. Finding such spaces helps individuals connect with others who appreciate the mental stimulation they crave, mitigating feelings of loneliness and boredom. Modern technology makes it easier than ever to seek out such groups and engage in discussions that align with one's intellectual interests. However, the challenge remains that not all social situations will offer the intellectual engagement they seek. At times, individuals must learn to tolerate conversations that may not be as mentally stimulating or step outside their intellectual comfort zones. This doesn't mean lowering their standards or abandoning their values, but rather practicing patience and understanding. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." Similarly, highly intelligent individuals can focus on fostering meaningful connections, even if it requires meeting others where they are in terms of intellectual engagement. Modern Stoicism offers a helpful framework for navigating these challenges. It emphasizes the importance of controlling one's reactions to external circumstances, rather than trying to control the environment. By practicing emotional discipline, people can engage more comfortably in a wider range of social situations without feeling disconnected. These interactions, even if not intellectually enriching, can become opportunities to practice virtues like patience, tolerance, and understanding. Adopting this Stoic mindset helps balance the desire for stimulating conversation with the need for harmonious relationships enriching both intellectual and social lives. Those with above-average intelligence must understand that seeking deep intellectual engagement is natural, but part of modern Stoicism is accepting the world as it is. This acceptance doesn't mean settling for shallow interactions, but recognizing that human connections are diverse and meaningful relationships can form in various types of conversations. By adapting their expectations and learning to engage with others meaningfully, even in seemingly trivial settings, intelligent individuals can enrich both their social and intellectual lives. In doing so, they embody the Stoic principle of amor fati, love of fate, embracing the social interactions that come their way and turning even the mundane into an opportunity for growth and connection. How do you deal with your fear of intimacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Here are some ways to approach it. Take vulnerability slowly, or set healthy emotional boundaries, or turn fear into growth. Be sure to watch all the way through, especially the last three. There's a lot more in-depth content to come. Number 4. Mental health. Mental health challenges, such as depression, social anxiety, and avoidant personality disorder, can severely impact one's ability to connect with others. These conditions often make social interactions feel daunting, or even impossible. Depression, for example, is characterized by emotional numbness and pervasive sadness, which can make engaging with others feel exhausting. Individuals with depression may find themselves too fatigued or demotivated to socialize, even when they crave connection. As Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." For someone experiencing depression, this feeling of being trapped in their own mind, unable to summon the energy for social engagement, can be an overwhelming challenge. Social anxiety can also make interactions seem like a minefield, with constant fears of being judged or evaluated negatively. This anxiety can make even small social encounters feel unbearable, leading to a cycle of avoidance and isolation that only deepens feelings of loneliness and inadequacy. Avoidant personality disorder further compounds these struggles, as individuals often feel unworthy of connection, fearing rejection at every turn. These patterns of self-doubt and avoidance make it harder to reach out for support, creating a vicious cycle of isolation that worsens over time. Despite the intense emotional barriers these conditions create, Stoicism offers powerful tools for managing these feelings and regaining control. One of the core tenets of Stoic philosophy is focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, reactions, and responses, rather than attempting to control external circumstances that are beyond our influence. This philosophy can be incredibly liberating for individuals grappling with mental health challenges. When dealing with issues like depression or social anxiety, the Stoic approach encourages individuals to focus on what lies within their power, such as their reactions to negative thoughts or stressful situations. For instance, seeking professional help through therapy can be an important step in regaining control. Therapy provides the tools needed to reframe negative thought patterns, build self-esteem, and gradually increase comfort with social interactions. As Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This reinforces the idea that shifting our thinking can have a profound impact on our ability to engage with others in a more balanced and confident way. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, a common and effective treatment for mental health conditions like depression and social anxiety, aligns closely with Stoic principles. CBT encourages individuals to challenge and reframe irrational thoughts, such as the belief that others will judge or reject them. This practice mirrors the Stoic method of self-reflection and examining our beliefs. By learning to identify and question these fears, individuals can begin to shift their mindset, which in turn can make social interactions feel less intimidating. The Stoic focus on controlling our reactions rather than external outcomes is reflected in CBT's emphasis on changing our responses to triggers, helping us break free from the cycle of fear and avoidance. Modern Stoicism, when applied to mental health struggles, provides a resilient framework for personal growth. By embracing Stoic virtues such as wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, individuals can approach their mental health challenges with a sense of purpose and resilience. Stoicism teaches that we are not defined by our emotions or circumstances. We have the power to shape our responses and maintain our inner peace. Mental health issues, therefore, should not define us. They are obstacles that can be managed with the right mindset and support. Stoic principles encourage self-awareness and personal responsibility, which are key to navigating the complexities of mental health and relationships. By fostering a deeper understanding of these principles, individuals can work to break free from self-doubt and isolation, creating healthier, more meaningful connections with themselves and others. By integrating modern Stoicism into their daily lives, individuals can cultivate greater emotional resilience and self-awareness. The practice of Stoicism allows people to confront their mental health challenges with wisdom and strength, without letting these struggles define their worth. In doing so, they can create a life of balance, peace, and connection, grounded in their authentic selves. Instead of being overwhelmed by anxiety, depression, or self-doubt, individuals can take control of their mental well-being, ensuring that their thoughts and responses align with their true values. Ultimately, Stoicism offers a path to navigate life's challenges with grace, empowering individuals to live more fully and authentically, regardless of the obstacles they face. Number 5. Asperger's syndrome. Have you ever found yourself in a social situation where you just couldn't connect with others no matter how hard you tried? Maybe you felt confused by body language, uncertain about the right way to interact, or completely overwhelmed by the complexities of communication. If this sounds familiar, it might be because of a condition called Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism that affects the way individuals perceive and engage with others. People with Asperger's often struggle with understanding social cues, like facial expressions, tone of voice, or body language, the subtle signals that most of us pick up naturally. As a result, social interactions can feel frustrating or even impossible. Imagine being at a party where everyone is laughing and talking, but you're unable to understand why. People may seem to be having a great time, but you're left feeling out of sync, unsure of how to join the conversation. For someone with Asperger's, this isn't an uncommon experience. They might not understand the nuances of a joke or realize when someone is joking, which can lead to awkward moments or unintentional misunderstandings. And it's not because they don't care. In fact, it's the opposite. They want to connect, but the way they perceive and process social interactions is different. Often, people with Asperger's also have a narrow range of interests and become deeply engrossed in specific topics. While this focus can be a strength, in some areas it can also create a sense of isolation when others don't share the same interests or knowledge. It's like being in a conversation where everyone else is talking about the latest movie, but you're excited about discussing ancient history. The challenge here isn't a lack of desire to engage. It's the difficulty in finding common ground. And to make things even more complex, sensory sensitivities are often present, making loud environments, crowded places, or even bright lights feel overwhelming. Social situations that seem manageable to others may be exhausting, triggering feelings of stress or anxiety for someone with Asperger's. So what can we learn from this? How can we help people with Asperger's feel more at ease in social settings? One answer lies in understanding. Just as we would adjust our approach for anyone who struggles with a specific challenge, we need to acknowledge that Asperger's doesn't make someone less capable of meaningful relationships. It simply means they interact with the world differently. Special programs, therapies, and social skills training can help individuals with Asperger's learn how to interpret social cues, understand the unspoken rules of communication, and manage sensory sensitivities. These resources can empower them to feel more comfortable in social situations and allow them to form deeper, more fulfilling connections with others. Now consider this. How often do we, as a society, make judgments about someone based on our own understanding of social norms? How often do we overlook the fact that different people process the world differently? By embracing the Stoic secrets of empathy and patience, we can cultivate an environment where everyone, regardless of their challenges, has the opportunity to connect and thrive. Instead of seeing someone with Asperger's as awkward or disengaged, we can choose to see them for who they truly are. Individuals with unique perspectives, valuable interests, and a genuine desire to connect. By doing this, we not only help them navigate social spaces more effectively, but we also foster a greater sense of community and understanding for all. So the next time you encounter someone who seems distant or different in a social setting, ask yourself, how can I make this person feel more comfortable? What small adjustments could we all make to create an environment where everyone, no matter their sensitivities or social challenges, can thrive? This is the power of understanding, and it's a principle that's at the heart of many Stoic secrets. Learning to embrace the differences in others with grace, compassion, and a commitment to making connections that truly matter. It's not about changing who we are, but about respecting the diversity of experiences that make us unique. Number 6. Low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is a significant barrier to social engagement for many people. When individuals feel inadequate, unworthy, or incapable, they often avoid social interactions due to a fear of being judged or rejected. The constant worry that they aren't good enough, smart enough, or attractive enough to fit in can create a powerful mental block, making them believe their presence is unwelcome or unimportant. This fear leads them to prefer isolation over the risk of social failure. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom reminds us that our self-perception can change, it is not fixed, and we have the power to transform it with effort and reflection. The roots of low self-esteem often lie deep in past experiences. Childhood neglect, bullying, or critical feedback from family, peers, or teachers can leave lasting emotional scars. These negative experiences chip away at a person's sense of self-worth, making them feel inherently flawed or undeserving of love and acceptance. This belief system often persists into adulthood, where even minor social setbacks can trigger feelings of shame or embarrassment. In a society driven by social media, where comparisons are constantly amplified, people with low self-esteem may feel they don't measure up to others. As Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic philosopher, advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This reminder encourages us to focus on our internal strength, rather than seeking external validation. The cycle of low self-esteem and social avoidance is self-perpetuating. Avoiding social interactions due to fear of judgment leads to isolation, which deepens feelings of loneliness. This, in turn, reinforces the belief that one is unworthy of love or companionship. It becomes a vicious cycle, where the isolation strengthens the negative self-image, making it harder to break free. Yet the desire to connect with others is a fundamental human need. Recognizing this and seeking support can be the first step in breaking free from the cycle of isolation. Addressing low self-esteem requires more than intellectual understanding. It demands intentional effort to confront deeply held negative beliefs. Therapy or counseling plays a crucial role in helping individuals unpack these feelings of inadequacy. A trained therapist can guide individuals through reframing their negative thoughts, helping them recognize their inherent value and develop healthier perceptions of themselves. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, for example, helps individuals identify and challenge the distorted thinking patterns that fuel low self-esteem. With time and the right support, people can rebuild their confidence and learn to engage socially in a healthier, more balanced way. Alongside therapy, practicing modern Stoicism offers valuable tools for managing low self-esteem. Stoic principles, such as self-reflection, emotional discipline, and the acceptance of imperfection, encourage individuals to focus on their inner character rather than external validation. This shift in focus can be incredibly freeing, as it teaches us that our worth is not determined by others' opinions, but by our own virtues and actions. Stoicism urges us to cultivate self-compassion, accept that everyone has flaws, and concentrate on what we can control, how we treat others, and our commitment to personal growth. As Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, put it, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By mastering our internal world, we can begin to counteract the negative beliefs that hold us back from social engagement and connection. Overcoming low self-esteem is a gradual process. It requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to seek help when necessary. The first step often involves acknowledging that the fear of judgment or rejection is not an accurate reflection of one's true worth. Modern Stoicism teaches that we are not defined by others' opinions. We are defined by how we respond to life's challenges. By focusing on inner growth and seeking meaningful relationships, individuals can gradually build their confidence, breaking the cycle of isolation. Embracing Stoic principles, along with professional support, can help people build healthier relationships with themselves and others, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling and connected life. Are you ready to take a new path and discover your inner strength? If you are on a journey of self-discovery, comment, "I choose inner strength," or "I want to explore more." Be sure to watch the entire video, especially the last 3 parts, to learn more about how Stoic principles can transform your approach to life and relationships. Number 7. Social skills. Social skills are vital for creating meaningful connections with others, yet not everyone is naturally skilled in these social dynamics. For many, starting conversations, maintaining discussions, or interpreting social cues can feel overwhelming. The roots of this struggle may lie in a variety of factors, including growing up in environments where communication was limited, emotionally distant, or where social interaction was undervalued. Such experiences can lead individuals to feel uncomfortable in social settings, unsure of how to engage or express themselves in a way that resonates with others. The lack of these fundamental social abilities often makes socializing feel like an unnatural or awkward task, and this discomfort can lead to a sense of isolation, frustration, or even self-doubt. The fear of saying something inappropriate or coming off as rude or insensitive can exacerbate the anxiety people feel in social situations. In extreme cases, this lack of social competence can prompt people to avoid social interactions altogether, which in turn deepens their sense of loneliness and exclusion. This isolation, though self-imposed as a protective mechanism, can cause further emotional distress, making it even more difficult to break out of the cycle of avoidance. However, like any skill, social proficiency can be learned and improved. Stoic philosophy reminds us of this essential truth. Growth and improvement are within our control. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In this context, the wealth Epictetus speaks of can be seen as the simple yet powerful skill of social competence. The key lies in focusing on developing the fundamental abilities we need to thrive in the world, such as engaging with others in meaningful ways. Rather than seeing social discomfort as a fixed trait, individuals can take small, manageable steps to improve their social interactions. Starting with casual conversations, observing how others communicate, and seeking constructive feedback from trusted friends or mentors can serve as initial building blocks. These small efforts can create a foundation for greater social confidence over time. It's important to remind oneself that everyone makes mistakes in social settings, and those mistakes should not be viewed as failures, but rather as natural parts of the learning process. Each awkward moment, every misstep, is an opportunity for growth and a chance to refine social strategies for the future. Through time, consistent practice, and patience, anyone can improve their social skills, gradually increasing their comfort level and gaining more confidence in social interactions. Over time, these efforts can lead to more meaningful, rewarding relationships. This process ties closely with modern Stoicism, which emphasizes personal development, self-reflection, and focusing on what we can control in our lives. While modern society often values extroversion and social ease, it's easy for those who struggle with these areas to feel marginalized or inadequate. Yet Stoicism offers a balanced approach, reminding us to focus not on the pressures or judgments of others, but on how we choose to respond to them. By adopting a Stoic mindset, individuals can embrace the journey of social growth, recognizing that persistence, self-discipline, and patience are key to overcoming social challenges. This Stoic perspective also allows individuals to remain true to themselves while gradually expanding their social skills. Progress isn't about changing who you are to fit some societal standard. Rather, it's about enhancing your ability to engage with others in ways that align with your true nature and values. By acknowledging that building social skills is a gradual process, one that involves both successes and failures, people can navigate this journey with greater ease, learning to balance their inner world with the need for social connection. Doing so, they will develop deeper, more authentic relationships that ultimately lead to a richer, more fulfilled life. Modern Stoicism encourages this form of self-development, emphasizing resilience, patience, and the importance of maintaining peace with oneself while improving the areas of life we can control. By embracing the Stoic approach to social growth, individuals can start small but steadily improve their social interactions over time, building confidence, refining skills, and, most importantly, fostering deeper connections with others, connections that are grounded in authentic self-expression and mutual understanding. Number 8. Stress. Stress is something we all face in life. Whether it's from work, family responsibilities, or personal challenges, it's a natural response to the demands we encounter daily. But when stress becomes chronic, it can start to have a serious impact on our social lives. Have you ever found yourself feeling completely overwhelmed by everything going on around you, only to retreat inward and avoid socializing with others because the thought of it feels like just one more burden? That's the power of stress. When we're stressed, our mental and emotional energy is drained and there's little room left to engage with others. You might feel too emotionally stretched to be present, making even the thought of a social interaction feel exhausting. It's like when you've had a long day at work and you just want to be alone, to take a break from the noise and demands of life. In those moments, solitude can seem like the only way to regain some sense of control, a brief escape where you can gather your thoughts and recharge. But here's the thing. While solitude can be a healthy way to manage stress in the short term, frequently choosing isolation over social engagement can lead to deeper problems. When we avoid social interactions too often, it can foster a sense of loneliness that only adds to the stress we're already feeling. This creates a vicious cycle. Stress leads to withdrawal, withdrawal leads to loneliness, and loneliness only amplifies the stress. It can become habitual, a self-reinforcing loop that makes it harder and harder to reconnect with others. If you find yourself slipping into this pattern, you're not alone. It's important to recognize that while it's completely natural to need a break from the world when you're stressed, it's equally important to take deliberate steps to break out of the isolation that stress can create. How do you manage this balance? Well, first, acknowledging the role stress plays in your life is crucial. Practicing relaxation techniques, setting clear boundaries, and seeking emotional support when you need it are all strategies that can help you regain a sense of control and calm. Have you ever considered how small acts of self-care, like taking a deep breath, doing something creative, or reaching out to a friend, can serve as a foundation for reconnecting with the world around you? These moments of intentional calm allow you to shift your mindset and can make social interactions feel like a source of relief instead of another stressor. The key is not letting stress control your life, but managing it in ways that give you space to be present, whether you're by yourself or with others. By recognizing the impact stress has on your social life, you can make conscious choices to break the cycle and reconnect with those who matter most. The Stoic secrets of maintaining inner peace in the face of external pressures offer valuable insight here. A calm, grounded mindset is essential for meaningful connections, and while stress may be inevitable, how we respond to it is entirely in our control. Imagine if you embrace the challenges of stress not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to strengthen your ability to engage meaningfully with others, knowing that you have the tools to manage your emotional world. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by stress, take a moment to step back, acknowledge how you're feeling, and choose how you'd like to respond. Could a small act of social engagement, or reaching out to a friend, help lift the weight of stress even for just a moment? Could these small shifts in perspective help you create a new habit of engagement rather than isolation. The key is to move through the world with an awareness of your own stress and the Stoic understanding that while we can't always control the external world, we have the power to choose how we interact with it. And remember, social interactions, when approached with calm and intention, can become a source of strength, not a burden. By finding the balance between self-care and connection, you can manage your stress more effectively and deepen your relationships in the process. Number 9. Trauma. Trauma, whether experienced in childhood or later in life, can profoundly affect one's ability to connect with others. Those who have endured traumatic events often withdraw from social situations as a way of protecting themselves from the emotional pain associated with their past. This trauma can take many forms: physical or emotional abuse, the loss of a loved one, betrayal, or neglect, and leaves lasting scars that make it difficult to trust others. The fear of being hurt again often prevents people from opening up, leading them to believe that distancing themselves from others is the safest option. However, in this withdrawal, they often find themselves more isolated and emotionally disconnected, reinforcing the loneliness they wish to escape. As Stoic philosopher Seneca observed, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This quote speaks to how our fears, often shaped by past trauma, can distort our perceptions and prevent us from embracing the connections life has to offer. Although isolation may seem like a defense mechanism, it can worsen the sense of loneliness and prolong the healing process. Trauma survivors often feel that no one can understand their pain, and this belief deepens their isolation. Avoiding social interactions might feel safer, but it only prolongs their emotional recovery and deepens the numbness and despair. Healing from trauma requires confronting the pain, not running from it. Modern Stoicism offers valuable guidance here. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control past events, we can control our reactions to them. This powerful insight encourages trauma survivors to focus on their inner strength and resilience rather than being trapped by their past. Through the practice of Stoicism, individuals can reframe their understanding of themselves and their relationships, learning to use their emotional discipline as a tool for moving forward. The journey of healing from trauma is not easy, but it is achievable with the right mindset and support. Therapy or counseling is often necessary to help individuals work through the emotional wounds left by their traumatic experiences. Mental health professionals guide trauma survivors in processing their emotions, rebuilding trust, and developing healthy connections with others. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is particularly helpful in challenging negative thought patterns and replacing them with healthier perspectives. This therapeutic approach empowers individuals to break free from the cycle of avoidance and fear, helping them reconnect with others in meaningful ways. Stoicism also supports this process by promoting self-awareness, emotional resilience, and self-compassion. A Stoic mindset encourages individuals to reflect on their emotions without judgment, focusing on what they can control, like their actions and responses. By cultivating this inner strength, trauma survivors can begin to rebuild their trust in themselves and others, creating healthier, more authentic relationships. In addition to therapy, it's important for individuals healing from trauma to practice patience with themselves. Recovery is rarely a linear process, and setbacks are a natural part of the healing journey. Stoicism teaches us to accept the course of life's events, including our emotional ups and downs. Epictetus wisely advised, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it comes." This perspective encourages trauma survivors to let go of the need for perfection and focus on gradual progress. Healing takes time, and even small steps forward are significant. Patience with oneself reduces frustration and allows for a deeper understanding of personal growth without unnecessary pressure. Although the scars of trauma may never fully disappear, modern Stoicism provides a framework for transforming that pain into strength. Rather than seeing themselves as victims of their past, trauma survivors can embrace their ability to shape their future through their reactions. Rebuilding trust in others takes time, but it is possible with the right mindset and support. It's crucial to remember that we are not defined by our past experiences, but by how we choose to respond to them. As Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. This perspective allows trauma survivors to see their experiences not as something that diminishes them, but as opportunities to build emotional resilience and cultivate meaningful relationships. Overcoming social withdrawal caused by trauma is a deeply personal journey, but one that can be navigated with the right tools and support. By practicing modern Stoicism, seeking therapy, and being patient with the healing process, individuals can reclaim their ability to connect with others in meaningful ways. Healing does not mean forgetting or dismissing the pain, but integrating it into a life that is rich with purpose, growth, and connection. Embracing Stoic principles such as acceptance, emotional discipline, and personal responsibility allows trauma survivors to not only heal, but to reconnect with the world in a more authentic and profound way. Through this process, they can find strength in their vulnerability and rebuild the trust and relationships that are essential to a fulfilling life. How do you approach social interactions, especially when feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Comment below with one of these options. I step out of my comfort zone, or I take time to recharge. And don't forget to stick around until the end of the video, especially for the last 2 parts where we dive deeper into stress management and trauma recovery. Trust me, you won't want to miss them. Number 10. Fear of intimacy. Fear of intimacy is a common challenge for many people, particularly when trying to build deep, meaningful relationships. Intimacy, in its truest form, requires emotional vulnerability, something that can be daunting for those who fear being judged, rejected, or hurt. This fear often stems from past emotional wounds such as betrayal, abandonment, or rejection. For those who have experienced these hurts, intimacy can feel like an invitation for more pain, and emotional distance becomes a protective shield. However, while this distance may guard against immediate pain, it also prevents the formation of meaningful connections, often leading to isolation and loneliness. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely stated, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them," which highlights that the fear of intimacy isn't necessarily about the act of being intimate itself, but about how we perceive it through the lens of past experiences and fears. In today's world, the fear of intimacy can feel even more pronounced. While technology and social media have made it easier to connect with others, they have also made it harder to form genuine, emotionally fulfilling relationships. The ability to hide behind screens or curate a perfect online persona amplifies the fear of truly being seen or understood. This fear of intimacy can affect all types of relationships, romantic, familial, and even professional. People may hesitate to share their true selves, fearing vulnerability or rejection. Over time, this lack of emotional transparency erodes the potential for real connection, leaving people feeling disconnected and emotionally adrift. But overcoming the fear of intimacy is possible, and Stoicism provides valuable tools for this process. Stoic philosophy teaches that while we cannot control how others act, we can control our responses to them. This perspective is crucial when confronting the fear of intimacy. It's not the intimacy itself that's frightening, but the fear we attach to it. By changing the way we think about vulnerability, we can see intimacy not as a risk of harm, but as an opportunity for connection, growth, and mutual support. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." For those struggling with intimacy, it's important to reframe vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness. This shift in thinking helps us embrace intimacy as an essential part of building meaningful relationships. Overcoming the fear of intimacy involves taking small, intentional steps toward emotional openness. It doesn't mean sharing everything all at once, but starting with manageable acts of vulnerability, such as expressing a personal feeling or sharing a modest experience. These small steps build trust, both in oneself and others, and gradually foster deeper emotional connections. Therapy can also be helpful for individuals dealing with the fear of intimacy, as a professional can help them process past wounds, identify the root causes of their fear, and develop healthier relational strategies. As Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Avoiding intimacy out of fear can cause us to miss out on the deeper, more rewarding relationships that are available to us. Modern Stoicism emphasizes embracing discomfort as an opportunity for growth. Confronting our fears, including the fear of intimacy, allows us to build emotional resilience and wisdom. By stepping outside our comfort zones and embracing vulnerability, we open ourselves to the possibility of richer, more meaningful relationships.
Stoicism teaches that emotional challenges like facing intimacy fears are opportunities for self-improvement. Overcoming this fear is not just about trusting others.
It's also about trusting ourselves, believing that we have the strength to handle emotional challenges and the wisdom to navigate complex relationships. Applying Stoic principles, we can gradually dismantle the walls we've built around our hearts and embrace vulnerability in our relationships. Vulnerability may not come naturally to everyone, but it can be developed through patience, self-awareness, and a willingness to confront discomfort. The Stoic mindset reminds us that, in the face of fear, we have the power to choose how we respond. Changing the way we perceive intimacy and seeing vulnerability as an opportunity for connection, we can move past our fears and experience the deeper, more fulfilling relationships we desire. Through consistent practice and self-reflection, we learn that intimacy, though inherently vulnerable, is one of life's greatest gifts, opening the door to connection, healing, and emotional depth. While overcoming the fear of intimacy is often a challenging journey, it is one that brings tremendous rewards. By applying Stoic principles, reframing our thoughts, embracing vulnerability, and trusting ourselves, we can transform how we engage with others. This process leads to more authentic, meaningful connections that not only enrich our lives, but also foster emotional and personal growth. Number 11. Trust issues. Trust is the bedrock of every meaningful relationship, but what happens when that trust is shattered? If you've ever been hurt, betrayed, or let down by someone close to you, you know how difficult it can be to rebuild that foundation. Trust issues don't just vanish overnight, especially when they arise from past experiences in romantic relationships, friendships, or even within families. Imagine for a moment how it feels when someone you trusted deeply breaks that bond. The hurt, the confusion, the sense of being let down, it can leave a mark that makes you view future relationships through a lens of suspicion. It's as though, after one betrayal, you start to believe that all relationships will inevitably end the same way. This fear can build walls around your heart, causing you to withdraw from others to protect yourself from the pain of potential betrayal. The result? You isolate yourself, emotionally distant, refusing to let anyone in because vulnerability feels like a risk too high to take. You might find yourself saying, "I'm better off alone," but in truth, that isolation only deepens the feelings of loneliness. The fear of being hurt becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, making it even harder to trust again, no matter how much you may crave connection. And the cycle continues, like a loop that's hard to break. If you've ever found yourself in this cycle, you're not alone. It's important to recognize that while protecting yourself from future harm is natural, it's also important to remember that not everyone will betray your trust. Not everyone will hurt you. There's a world of people out there who are capable of building trust and maintaining it, but it takes time. Trust isn't something you can rush. It's a gradual process that requires patience and a willingness to be vulnerable again, even if it feels risky. But how can you start rebuilding? Therapy is one powerful tool that can help you work through your trust issues. A skilled therapist can help you process past wounds and teach you how to take the necessary steps to open your heart again, slowly and safely. It's like learning to ride a bike after a fall. You need guidance, patience, and small steps to regain confidence. It's not about forgetting the past or ignoring the hurt you've experienced, but about learning to trust again, not just others, but yourself. As you have more positive experiences with people who respect and honor your trust, the walls that once protected you from pain begin to come down. Slowly, you can begin to rebuild your trust in others and yourself. You don't have to be afraid of vulnerability, because you'll come to realize that with the right people, it's not a weakness, it's a strength. This lesson ties into the Stoic secrets of inner strength and control. As a Stoic, you can't control the actions of others, but you do have control over how you respond. The Stoics believed that the only thing we truly own is our ability to manage our thoughts and reactions. What does this mean for you? It means that even though you can't control how others behave, you can choose how to rebuild your ability to trust. You can choose to embrace the vulnerability of building new, healthy relationships. Every time you face the fear of being hurt and choose to open yourself up to trust again, you are choosing to take back control. Isn't that a powerful choice to make? The next time you feel the urge to pull away from someone because of past hurts, ask yourself, how can I break this cycle? How can I find the courage to trust again, even in small ways? Remember, trust is built over time, not in one giant leap. And while the fear of being hurt is real, it's also possible to move beyond it, one step at a time. By embracing the Stoic wisdom of patience, understanding, and emotional control, you can rebuild trust, not only in others but in your own ability to make meaningful connections once again. Understanding the reasons behind social avoidance, whether it's stress, anxiety, trust issues, or something else, can be the first step toward overcoming those barriers and cultivating healthier, more meaningful connections. Remember, it's okay to embrace solitude when you need it, but finding a balance between alone time and social engagement is key to personal growth and happiness. What steps can you take today to improve your social well-being? Have you found any Stoic practices that help you navigate your own social challenges? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your experiences with the community. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. Let's continue growing together. Stay strong, stay connected, and keep living stoically. Thank you for watching Stoic in Your Life.